Just before we do that, as ever, about 9:25 every Friday, we touch base with our film critic, Stratford-upon-Avon's James Luxford, writes reviews for the Radio Times Metro newspaper. Find out what we should be watching, what's on our movie radar for the weekend. James, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And we were just reporting live from Stratford-upon-Avon and the barricades that have gone up and the one-way system that's in place now for people around there, and talking to some of the restaurants, hopefully trying to sort of open up in the next week or so and getting back to normal there. You'll be, I'm sure, hopeful and welcome of all of that coming.
Absolutely. I mean, you always want to keep safe and you always want to have a safe as introduction back to the new normal as you can, but it is really good to see to have, I think, a finish line in sight with things opening up and a bit more normal, I think.
Yeah, a good way of putting it. Finish line in sight. A little bit of light, isn't it, at the end of the tunnel. So, stuff for this weekend. We are predicting some rain, certainly tomorrow, so maybe a good chance to stay indoors and catch up on some movies tomorrow. Likewise, other opportunities when it comes to downloads and free-to-air stuff. So guide us through your three picks here. And your first one is actually something that you can watch on Netflix anytime, James.
Yes, it's Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again on Netflix now, the ABBA-themed sequel where we explore the past of Meryl Streep's character Donna as her daughter prepares for motherhood.
I have never felt closer to Mom. I'm in the exact same place that she was all those years ago.
You're pregnant?
Yeah, I am. Tonight, it's a night for celebration. Come on, let's get this show on the road.
And this is the movie that introduces Cher to the plot line, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those films that's just a whole lot of fun, just a big smile of a film. It's silly, it's musical, the plot is a bit of a jumble, but you'll be singing along. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Particularly as you say, Cher shows up as Meryl Streep's mum. Is she old enough to play Meryl Streep's mum? I'm not sure, but by that point she's singing Fernando. It's all a party. It doesn't matter, and it's just joyous.
And if you take it certainly with that mindset, and millions haven't they, with the way that show has been watched, viewed at the theatre, and certainly now at the movies with the Mamma Mia, the two movies been a phenomenal franchise success. Right, from something that's available on Netflix to something that you can actually watch tonight, James.
Yes, today 7:15 on Turner Classic Movies on Freeview. It's 12 Angry Men, the classic drama set in a jury deliberation room where one of the jurors tries to make sure justice is served.
If there is a reasonable doubt, you must bring me a verdict of not guilty.
The charge, murder in the first.
The kid you just decided is not guilty was seen ramming that thing into his father.
An open and shut case. Or is it?
Hey, what is this?
Now it's up to 12 men to decide the fate of the accused, and for one man to stand alone in the ultimate battle for the truth.
You want the boy to die for your own personal reason.
Oh, it's got a great big deep-voiced American voiceover, that has. But it is, I mean, the reason why it's on TCM is that it is seen as a classic, isn't it?
A magnificent film. Henry Fonda is the lead, but it's a whole host of great actors in the film. And it talks about the nature of justice, what it is to have a man's life in your hands, I suppose. And that's something that I think is an interesting thing to explore right now. But I think just as a piece of cinema, just incredible acting, really simple storytelling, really effective filmmaking, and I think you'll be gripped from beginning to end.
TCM 7:15 tonight for 12 Angry Men. And the third and final picks, it's another classic, Saturday afternoon. Tell us a bit about this, James.
Yes, Saturday, 1:55, ITV4. It's The Sting. Robert Redford and Paul Newman play conmen in the 1930s who staged one huge con as an act of revenge.
Chicago was the place to be in 1936. In those days, the big con was a dying art, until a first-class grifter on the lam from the FBI and a young gaffer from Joliet joined forces to con the Big Mick.
And the chemistry, the dynamic between these two stars really comes through here, doesn't it?
Terrific. They're one of the great all-time Hollywood duos, Robert Redford and Paul Newman. And this, for me, one of the best films ever. It won Best Picture at the Oscars for that year. If you've ever watched a heist movie, it probably is elements of this, and it's probably been inspired in it in some way. Both stars are incredible, as is Robert Shaw as the villain. Just a great film to watch, a great film to spend an afternoon enthralled in.
And it's a bit of a tenuous link, I know, but obviously Robert Shaw appeared in Hustle, didn't he? Which, of course, is all about how you perform the long con, the BBC TV series, and this very much about that. The Sting, ITV4, 1:55, just before 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. James, have a great weekend in Stratford. Appreciate your time as ever this morning, and we'll speak on Monday about some movies for the week coming up next week.
We will. Thank you.
James, appreciate it. James Luxford with us this morning. And you can read his reviews in the Metro newspaper and the Radio Times, of course.
CWR Breakfast
with Phil Upton.
Right, let's just check the temperature gauge for you because it is climbing.